As always. It's 11:30 where I am, Central Time. And we're going to spend the next hour together going through intake to resolution on a case. Now, this is obviously from a paralegal's perspective, and I know that people are going to roll in the next few minutes, but we're going to start it up, and I want to kind of set the table for how this is going to go. A couple of things. First of all, I love speaking to paralegals. You are the unheralded heroes of this whole process, and you never get the credit you deserve for the things that you do. You always seem to want to be seeking more information and be better and better and better at your jobs. And there always seems to be a great deal of humility with the work that you do as well, and I love that. You're always really engaged as well. I love the chat. Making it sort of noisy in the chat is a wonderful thing. I will get to questions. The richest part of the hour that we spend together is almost always the back end when people chime in with questions and answers, and it's a very supportive community. Anyway, I love it. I'm happy to be back. I work for a company called Steno, and we are a court reporting company. And we provide a number of tech solutions across the deposition booking and taking process. And we have a free AI tool on the back end. It comes at no additional cost. Anyway, that's what we do. I'm also a law professor. So I teach and I practice, and what I'm talking to you today about is going to be rooted in that. And anyway, so get lively in the chat as always. Let's make sure that we save time at the end for questions. And one other thing. The first sort of 25 minutes of this are really going to be sort of more about the process itself, from start to finish of a case, with some ideas about performance improvements, where to look for solutions, some specific examples. There's a lot of content in these slides. You'll be able to get access to these slides, so don't worry if you miss things. If you think it's moving a little quick, that's okay. You'll be able to come back and reference these slides. Excitedly, though, you're also going to see on screen is Danielle Butler. She's a paralegal as well. She was a paralegal. She works with Steno. She is going to take all of the theory that I am going to talk about, and the things that we talk about in the first sort of half of this, and then show you a real-life demo of an AI product that can be really beneficial to your practice. So if it feels sort of abstract to some degree in the front half, fine, because you're going to see on the back half some real life things that are really specialized thing that you can do to shave some time off some of the busy work and some of the things that take a great deal of time in your practice. So with that table set, we're going to kind of get moving on this. And again, feel free to jump in with questions. I love seeing everyone from around the country already talking. And let's get going. Okay, so here's what we're going to do is we're going to kind of just map out, obviously, the different phases of cases. Some of this is going to be really obvious to you. Some of it is going to be for newer paralegals. I'm really interested to see where this sticks. And remember, again, at the very back, we're going to see an actual AI demo. And the reason that we're going to talk about this now is because from a practitioner's point of view, I am just mesmerized by how quickly everything is changing. Everything is moving so rapidly. I know it's almost a cliche at this point, but every state bar, every single sort of licensing or ethical regulatory body is basically mandating that as licensed practitioners, we need to stay up to speed on the evolving trends. And it's also a real opportunity to set yourself apart when you know the tech side of things and the tech solutions that are out there. So let's go through the case overview. I've kind of broken it down into 7 different phases. We're going to talk about these very specifically, so don't worry, I'm not going to read everything on this slide, but we're going to go through phase by phase very quickly, really from initial intake all the way through resolution and closure. This is the way I think of it. Obviously, people are going to break it down a little bit differently, but the whole point of this is that I want people to sort of feel as though there are different branches of the case cycle that allow for different entry points and opportunities for you to be using tech in a way that's advantageous to you. It can feel like a lot, but if you really separate it into task by task, I think that you're going to see that if you pick an area that is causing you the most busy work or the most time intense, it's time demands, I suppose, you're going to see that there's some really easy, wonderful solutions out there. This is where it fits in. We're seeing AI especially really slot into every single area of the case life cycle. Different firms, different practitioners use it differently. Some not at all. Some are hesitant. Some are skeptical. Some are real evangelizers. whatever the case may be, there are entry points for this technology. And I think it's kind of where it breaks down. Let's start with the initial case contact and intake. You're going to see across the next 7 slides the traditional way things were done, and then some general opportunities for AI, specifically enhancement, right? So a big use of AI up front is really, I've seen definitely on any sort of initial documentation. And when I say AI, by the way, I definitely mean AI as we're considering it right now, but also just basic automations. I mean, as soon as a case comes in, as soon as a client is actually, you are retained by a client, everything from the scheduling to the actual ability to generate documents. I don't know the degree to which people are using that. And again, in the chat, if people have solutions or processes that they're using throughout these phases that they find beneficial, even new ones, I would love for people to sort of chime in and see. So we can see that the initial contact and intake obviously has some opportunity as well for tech enhancement. But I mean, for example, in my practice, I have a whole set of automations when it comes to document creation that as soon as we have a new client, there are 3 or 4 immediate automations document-wise that are generated, whether it's the letter, whether it's some specific filings that are drafted, whatever that may be, we have them set up. And I actually use on that front, I use Google Drive, and I use a bunch of automations through Google Documents and Google Drive that connect to my case management system. So that's not a complicated solution, right? That's a solution that you have at your disposal, and it's a pretty easy one to navigate. So we've got case assessment and acceptance too. Again, left side, you're seeing the traditional side of things, what the tasks actually lie. How are you gathering the evidence? How are you getting the discovery? What kind of documents do you need? Early on, this is basically about information gathering. What tools can you use to actually do that? Again, when it comes to template generation and customization, I find, and this is sort of a rule of thumb, if you are having to do something more than once, especially on the document creation side, and it happens with every case, there is an automation out there that you can use to replace that task. It is amazing how quickly that can save tremendous amounts of time and energy. This is the real side of it that we're seeing some discovery and investigation, right? Like massive amounts of documentation go along with every single case. And now it's a question of how to handle that. And this is where we're really seeing AI just change the game. E-discovery platforms have been around forever, but I would love, like, what are y'all using? What are things that y'all are using on the e-discovery front? Because there's so many solutions out there. And then the question becomes, how can we adopt it? Like, what is the easiest and quickest way to actually bring value into the discovery side of things? You're going to see on the back end of this, when we actually show you a product called Transcript Genius, you're going to see that it's not an e-discovery platform at all. But what it does do is it can sort of obviously engage with your transcripts really thoughtfully. And it's something that can be very friendly with your e-discovery platform. So again, chime in here if you have any solutions that you're already using. On the pretrial prep front, this is where you're going to see, I mentioned Transcript Genius, but this is where you're going to really see the power of something like that. Like you have transcripts, for example, from depositions, and now you are trying to draft, supplemental requests for production, or your motions in limine before a trial, or, trying to figure out if there are other things that you can include in those motions. AI tools that can really interrogate transcripts, for example, which is a great entry point into sort of time saving and AI usage, can assist in motions drafting, and outlining, giving you ideas for different exhibit prep, whatever it may be. But I really find there to be a great deal of benefit when it comes to this side of case management, like tech being involved in this part of the case life cycle too. I'm seeing Dominique down here talk about using Everlaw for e-discovery. E-discovery has obviously been around for a while, and people have different preferences and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, those solutions are out there for sure. So again, you're seeing on the pretrial prep front, on the right side, we're seeing a lot of AI enhancement opportunity, and I'm excited for Danielle to show you, especially how one example can really benefit. Trial hearing negotiation. Again, we're seeing this happen more and more now because of the ability to take a great deal of documentation and then use AI to thoroughly interrogate it and analyze it and understand the contents of it. This helps with trial prep. This helps with hearing prep. This helps, obviously, when it comes to gathering information that you need for negotiation purposes, or anyone on your team can benefit from being able to take a massive amount of data and then do something with it, turn it into something a little bit more digestible. Same with resolution and settlement. I mean, I just worked on a case that had a pretty high dollar settlement, and the reason that we got there as quickly as we did is we were able to use AI to understand exactly what was in a massive amount of documentation, use that to actually prepare a witness. And then when the witness, once we got through that process, we were able to sort of come back to the negotiation table and be really productive about that. So again, it was a question here of being able to actually deploy the technology in a way that allowed us to better prepare much more quickly. And then we got back to a resolution in a way that I actually was surprised at how quickly it did resolve. So, and then we get to the end, post-resolution and closure. I kind of liken this to the beginning, really. Like when a case wraps, what is your procedure to close a case, to retain that information, to communicate that to a client, the necessary filings? So much of this can be automated, and you're seeing on the right side, that's a way to do it. Again, I use this in my practice on the front and back end when it comes to document automation. It is as simple for me as actually connecting my case, having a automation workflow on Google Drive, and I think that's really beneficial. So here you're seeing practical AI tools and implementation. I'm going to save this. A lot of this is going to be, Danielle is going to talk really about a specific example. But again, we talked about the categories of tools for paralegals, like the different communication tools and the specialized legal AI. But let's jump into some of the specifics when it comes to, for example, document management AI. Now, I use Adobe for this, really. I mean, when it comes to actually making my documents readable and understandable, and then processable by AI and understandable by AI, Adobe is a really wonderful tool. It's not the only one out there, but it's the one that a lot of people are familiar with. And I find it to be extremely beneficial for making, it's a nice friend, again, with the AI that I use to actually turn those documents into something understandable by AI. You're seeing research and analysis. You all know this very well now. It's probably either Lexis or Westlaw that you're using. Each of them have an internal AI tool that comes at different price points, that maybe has access to their case law database, maybe doesn't, has a whole host of functionality when it comes to motions drafting or document analysis. It can be very robust. Sometimes it can fall a little short, as all AI can do at points. Critically, though, whatever you're doing research-wise needs to be verified by, you need to verify it. You need to have access to verify it. One of the things that, again, I keep referencing this, but sometimes the theory can be a little sort of high level. When you see a tool in practice, like the one we're going to show you, that can easily verify and quickly verify the output, that is a gold mine when it comes to the analysis, especially on the research front or anytime you're using AI. Communication and collaboration AI. This is a really interesting one because this is, people have different methods of client communication. Sometimes this lives and breathes through a client portal in your case management software. Sometimes this is done ad hoc. Sometimes it's just as basic as email. There are ways here to tighten up and facilitate, make easier the client communication side of this. And I can tell you that very often this is a case management tool as well. Clio and Litify come to mind as good ones out there. People use a lot. People use MyCase. There's a whole host of CMSs out there that people use. Okay, AI though, getting started with it. If there is some level of intimidation about using it, I always say pick the one thing, again, that is causing you the most time-intensive, time drain, and get going with it. And when I say get going with it, if, for example, let's get specific. If, for example, you have a trove of documentation that you need to get up to speed on and understand what is going on with a case, deposition-wise, pick a tool that allows you to do that. And you don't have to worry about it. It doesn't have to be anything but doing that one thing brilliantly. That's where we're seeing a great deal of AI adoption. And honestly, quite frankly, AI benefit. You got to make sure it's secure. You got to make sure you can verify the output of that AI. But once you can do all of those things, use it. And does it integrate with your systems? That's maybe you have a CMS that has an AI platform or AI integration available to you. Tinker with it. And then I guess it also is worth mentioning, some firms have policies about AI usage. Make sure that you are using it in accordance with those policies. And if there are no policies and you're finding AI to be beneficial, that's a really wonderful way to add value, I think, and show your value of your skill set. Okay, obviously we know that we don't ever just work on one case statically. I mean, I think I have like my office right now has about 400 or 500 open cases, and it's in varying stages of different parts of the case. Some are dormant, some are highly active with upcoming settings. The challenge here and the using of technology here, and quite frankly, I think the brilliance of your minds is when it comes to managing a whole host of responsibilities and doing it brilliantly. That is why I think now more than ever before, the benefit of AI is coming in so that you can actually do that more efficiently and then focus on the things that you're brilliant at. So talking about, one of the things that we have now is being able to use all of this to build systems. And it says here systems that scale. That's true. That doesn't mean you have to upend the processes of your law firm or your practice. A system that scales could be as simple as being able to automate the one or two document creations. Like that could be a small system that can scale and save you time and effort. By the way, if anyone ever has any specific questions, feel free to reach out. I'll put my contact information in the chat after this and everyone can have access to it. Same with Danielle when she shows you what she's going to show you at the end too. But I want to make sure that people realize that this is something that is going to be accessible to you, and I would be happy to have conversations offline if you have specific questions about these things. Case management dashboards, you're seeing a couple up here. I think we have Litify. I think this is Clio as well. They're brilliant at what they do. There's a whole host of functionality that allows for centralized sort of document management, client communication, billing. And then the great thing about these is they offer a whole host of integrations too. So you can link different systems together, and then all of these things sort of coexist in a single repository rather than in isolation. As we talked about, I think one of the benefits here of this document or system creation is the fact that you can now get to a spot where you prevent error and you ward off error, and you can minimize things that would actually minimize the chance of error throughout this process because you're not thinking about as many things at once. And it allows you to also better sort of refine and manage the quality of what it is that you're doing. So in other words, people have a line of sight into the people that need to have a line of sight into different portions of the case at different times through a case management, for example, absolutely can. And you have the tools at your disposal so that people know what's going on. It's not about micromanagement, and you can really see where the benefit actually lies and see how efficiently you can manage your time in a way that sort of reduces the friction. The last segment of this is this idea of, and I know it's kind of a cliche, right? People always talk about team players in offices or in firms or teams, and we work on teams, and it's true. I mean, it's a cliche, but it's a cliche because it matters. And when my office is running smoothly, it's beautiful. Like it's a wonderful thing to see, because people are really empowered, and I think they're empowered to do the things that they're best at doing. There's a lot of trust. There's a lot of autonomy. There's a lot of ability to sort of celebrate wins. And you're not operating in isolation, right? Like using these tools can allow for so much greater collaboration. And again, I'm not really talking about upending your practice. I'm talking about just being able to sort of add strategic value over the course of a case. And that's what this is, right? Strategic value can be as simple as you saying, hey, look, here's an AI tool that can save everyone some time. Like that is really what strategic, or it can be doing something that allows you to do your job better, or someone else in your firm to do your job better. And again, what we're going to show you with Transcript Genius is going to be a great example of that. Because it's one product that does one thing really brilliantly, and it allows you to sort of everyone will benefit as a result. The other thing that it allows you to do is communicate, not just internally, but externally really well. One of the things that mattered about my AI usage around this witness prep that I was talking about earlier is it allowed us to actually get to the information quicker that we could then communicate outward to the court and in filings and to opposing counsel. Like, the communication isn't just a matter of internal, it's external too. And then the last thing on this front is you are better as a result of this. Like, I do believe in this idea of building your own professional brand, because when you build your brand, it's not a selfish thing. It's a career enhancement thing. It's this idea that you are the go-to person that knows exactly how systems can not only improve and operate, but this is now because of you and because of your mind and your ideas. And you are the person that becomes the go-to sort of solution maker for things that traditionally caused law firms, lawyers, and paralegals a little bit of grief. So what I want to do is that is sort of high level where AI and technology can benefit. And what I would like to do is sort of suggest that this can happen in phases. Get granular now. This is the part of the presentation where we really get specific. What are the things that are causing you the most time consuming? What is one product, what is one solution out there that can be beneficial to you this month, and then ideally expandable down the road? But don't be thinking, I don't think too far down the road. I really think that the task right now is identifying that task and then researching a tool. And you can also use AI to do that, right? Like, you can ask AI, this is my problem, this is causing me a lot of grief. What solutions are out there for me to actually sort of better my practice? So with that, what we're going to do is take that exact concept, and I'm going to let Danielle sort of run the show. It says up here that there's going to be some Q&A. What I would love to do now is hand it over to Danielle. And what we're going to do is I'm going to go back to this slide, and I'm going to set the table for what Danielle is going to say. And Danielle, again, is a paralegal who can speak your language better than I can. But now let's pretend that the identification of the time-consuming task has to do with all things transcript related, right? That's the task that is causing a lot of time consumption. Now we're going to show you an AI tool that can actually do that and do that brilliantly. So Danielle, are you good to go?
I am. I'm so excited. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, can hear you great. I'm going to stop sharing this screen, and then you can kind of jump in. And at the end, obviously, when people have questions, have at it.
I am so excited to share my screen. And you should all be able to see the Steno dashboard. Hopefully you can see that.
Oh, it's your Gmail right now, Danielle.
Oh, okay. Let's try again. There we go. Try that screen share again. Nobody wants to check my emails. You all get enough emails. Here we are. Is that better? There we go. Okay, hopefully you can see this now. I can see it, so that's good. Let me know if you have any issues. I'm not seeing anything on the chat, so I'm assuming you can all see it. Yes? All right.
Yep, you can see it, Danielle. It looks great.
Okay, wonderful. I want to make sure I can see it. I want to make sure you can see it. So this is Transcript Genius, everyone. I am so excited to show you all how this works. As a litigation paralegal, I was tasked with ordering depositions and managing depositions and reviewing depositions on occasion. So I know that that's something that you are all going to be tasked with on occasion, or you're at least going to have to help someone that's doing it. So I really want to be able to show you how to navigate this so that you can actually take transcripts that even we haven't done, and you can come in here and play around with this technology and really see what it's capable of. I think that you'll all be as impressed as I was, and I'd like to get in here and show you how it works now. I'm having trouble navigating the screen. But I am going to give it one more moment. Hold on here. What I'd like to do is actually be able to show you how this works. And I'm hitting a bit of a wall here. Okay. I see it now. I'm seeing transcript genius. Hopefully you're all seeing it.
Hey, Danielle, we're seeing you again. I think you're sharing the screen for the webinar.
Goodness. This is turning into a mess. Okay, hold on. Let me try again. All right. Can you see that now?
Yep, but you're still coming in double. Give me a sec, and I'm going to try to fix this.
I'm sorry.
We're still seeing two of you on the same screen. I'm not sure why.
Oh, how far? Okay. We're gonna stop share screen and try again. Technology can always be a friend until we need it, correct? Let's try this again. All right. Okay. Can you see transcript genius now?
Yep, we can see it, but you're still coming in doubled up. Do you want to try turning your camera off and on? There's an echo as well.
I'm sorry. If I can what?
Do you want to try to turn your camera on and off?
I can try. Let me try that. See, does that help?
Yeah, the echo is still coming through. Bear with us one moment. We're gonna try to fix the technical difficulty. Be right there, everyone. Sorry about that. Hey, Danielle, we can hear you now.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Can you see the screen?
And we can see the screen, yes.
Okay, so the question is, can you see me navigating Transcript Genius?
Yes.
Okay, success. Okay. So now that we've managed to do that, I'd like to take a minute to just note that Steno gave us a real gift here. When I first learned about this technology, I was really excited to use it. And the fact that I had the ability to upload transcripts that I had done with cases that Steno had not done the transcripts for really set the stage for me, because I could take a case that I was wildly familiar with and I can come in and actually try out this technology. So you see, they give you this ability here, and then all of the deposition transcripts that are actually done through Steno automatically appear here in Transcript Genius, so that you can come in and start interrogating them, which I'm going to show you how to do now. So I'm going to click on Interrogate, and you'll see it brings you to a screen where it pulls up your transcript, but then it also has some preemptive prompts here on the left side. You can build on these, but these are just here to get you started. And so, of course, you can ask for a brief summary. You can ask if the witness contradicts themselves, which is one of my favorites. But I'm just going to say that the caliber of the summary and the caliber of the response that you're going to get in Transcript Genius is going to be next level. This is going to be something that you can really rely on, because my paralegal paranoid brain needed to know where it got all this information and to confirm that it was correct. And so with every bit of information you get here, we're going to also provide a citation so that you know exactly where we got that information in your transcript. So you're not going to have to worry about the validity of the information, and you can click on the citation and actually see where the information came from. So let me show you what I mean. I'm just going to start on a brief summary here. And again, this is just the bare basics. Once you guys really get familiar with what you can do in here, you are going to hit the ground running. I'm always excited to show other paralegals how to use Transcript Genius. And then I hear from them a couple weeks later, and they're teaching me tips and tools and tricks that they've learned in their own endeavors. So you see here, you ask for a brief summary and you get a very detailed description where you can see what is going on in this case, why it's relevant, why it's important. And for every fact, you see a citation so that you know exactly where this information came from. You can see it highlighted there, so you don't have to
Hey,
wonder.
Danielle, can I interrupt? We're not seeing the summary on the shared screen.
Oh no, what? Okay, hold
It's still
on.
on the Transcript Genius scene.
Yeah,
Transcript Genius screen with the all the different depositions.
yes, let me try to share my screen again. Hold on. There you go. Can you see it now? I'm wondering if I threw
Yes,
it
we
off
can
when
see it now.
You can see it now? Okay, maybe when I clicked into Transcript Genius, it just threw it off. But as you see here, for every fact that it provides to you, when you click on this little citation next to it, it's then going to take you to directly where it got this information in the actual transcript. So you don't have to worry about hallucinations, and you can actually provide this kinds of information to your attorney. And when they're drafting motions for summary judgment or briefs in opposition, think about the amount of time this is going to save everyone. Let me elaborate a bit further and come down. As you look at the actual information that's provided and all of the sources that they give you at the bottom, you can build on this information. So like I said, I love a witness contradiction statement where it lets you know if this person contradicted themselves at all in their transcript. Think about how much time this is going to save us. Think about how much time it would save you just trying to figure out when this deponent contradicts their own statement. And now you're going to have a bullet point list breaking down major and minor contradictions. I can't imagine how many hours I spent trying to do this manually in the past and how many things I inadvertently missed. So I really think that this is a game changer for those of us that are having to go through really complex deposition transcripts and make sure nothing slips through the cracks. And again, once you get familiar with these prompts, then you can really find ones that you enjoy or ones that are really beneficial to you. I played in this and I found out that I can tell Transcript Genius the way that I want something provided to me, the way that I get the information, and I really loved that. So here's something that I decided was one that I would run every time for every transcript if it was me. Please provide a timeline. Oh, you can always type until someone's watching. A timeline of events in table format, because then all of your citations are going to be right there on the right side in their own column, and you won't have to worry about locating that information. And think about how much time it would have saved you from manually building a timeline of events and then trying to find discrepancies or gaps in that timeline. Whereas Transcript Genius is going to do this for you, and it's going to take it back as far in time as it can based on the information provided. And then it's going to go minute by minute and as detailed as it can when it gets to the actual day of the incident. And then it'll go out into the future with whatever additional information it has. So the capabilities are really incredible. And again, this is just one transcript. So let me go a step further and show you, you can actually come into Transcript Genius with multiple transcripts, and you can ask it questions based on both of them. And think about how much time that would save you, right? Multiple transcripts at one time. We're talking about hours and hours of our lives, people. So let me show you here. So I'll do this transcript, and you see it'll give you a bandwidth essentially to show you how much room you still have available. So right now we can hold about 600 pages. They're working on increasing that amount. So you're looking at about 2 to 3 deposition transcripts right now. I'll click on one more, and then I'll go ahead and click on view on interrogate transcripts. I'm watching to make sure my screens are transferring over and make sure you guys can see everything. And then you'll have multiple transcripts here. We've got 2 at the same time. The Transcript Genius is going to go through, and I can ask it questions about both. I can ask for a brief summary for both, and it's going to cross-reference those deposition transcripts for me. I mean, think about the value in this if you're talking about an injured party and their treating doctor. You can find contradictions between the two that you might not have caught otherwise. And this can be relevant for any area of law. You know, if you've got transcripts where you're having to weed through an incredible amount of information, you all know there's half of those pages are irrelevant or they don't have anything to do with the case. So this is really going to save you a ton of time, and you're going to be able to really navigate your cases more efficiently. Of course, when you have them from start to finish, but more importantly, if you pick up a case in the middle, maybe this has been a transition from another attorney to yours, you're going to be able to catch up and get familiar with the case a lot faster, and you're going to be able to run these prompts faster than you can go get a glass of water. And think of how helpful this would be to be able to, you know, run these prompts and already have them in the file for the attorney when the transcripts are there for their review as well. So they can look at the summary, a witness contradiction statement, and a timeline of events along with the transcript itself. So I hope that you all see the value in this, and your brains are already starting to think about how this could save you a significant amount of time. And like Joe said, we would love to answer any questions you have or give you an opportunity to run through it yourself. That's what I did, and I was sold. I was so impressed with it, and I could not wait to be able to share it with my paralegal friends. And I was excited for the opportunity to share it with all of you today, so I appreciate that opportunity. And like Joe said, we'll provide our contact information, and we're be here to help if you ever have any questions as you try to navigate this new legal AI world that we are in. And let me stop share for a minute so I can see if there are any.
Sorry, folks, as we wait for Danielle to come back, just wanted to say thank you for bearing with us with the technical issues. And like Danielle mentioned and Joe both mentioned, if there are any specific areas you guys would like to dig into, Danielle and Joe will make themselves available to you so you guys can meet one-on-one. And Danielle, you are back. We can't see you. Well, it looks like
I'm back.
I wanted to ask about what you were sharing with the creation of timelines. Is that a typical task paralegals are assigned?
It's basically building the story of the case, and that's a big role that we play. You know, we've from start to finish, we've got to sift through a tremendous amount of information and figure out what's relevant and what's not. And in a majority of types of law, we're essentially building a case and building a story so that all sides can see it. And so the more information you have, the better, and the broader your view, the better. So I spent a lot of time where I did defense work, and I had a tremendous amount of cases, and there were a tremendous amount of moving parts. And then I switched to the plaintiff side where I saw there were just as many moving parts, and there was just as much to have to catch in your vision. So this tool is, I think, a gift to any area of law. But yes, as a paralegal, we've got to navigate a tremendous amount of information, and to be able to have something help us create that timeline and build that story, and then provide citations so that we know that the information we're being provided is accurate, is a real game changer.
Awesome. I didn't realize you got that in depth in the role. Thank you for hopping in today and presenting.
Like Joe said, you know, the paralegals, we do a tremendous amount of work, and we're not on the certificate of service, and people aren't as familiar with our name, but we juggle a tremendous amount of information. And good attorney paralegal teams work hand in hand, and they really are able to help each other be better at their jobs. And what I love about Transcript Genius is that is just essentially another piece of that puzzle to help build the story, work the case faster, more efficiently, which benefits everyone involved.
Awesome. How about we open it up for Q&A? If anybody has any questions, please drop them in the chat. If you want to share any stories about using Transcript Genius or how you would use Transcript Genius, all anecdotes are welcome as well.
And I will say that since COVID, I feel like this AI world for legal has really been ongoing, and there hasn't really been any way for us to put on the brakes. We've kind of just had to keep swimming. And so I know that AI seemed a bit treacherous in the beginning, and we weren't really sure how we were going to navigate it. But what's great about Transcript Genius is it's very easy to navigate and manage. And so once you get the hang of it, you really realize all the capabilities. And I think for all of us, it's a real game changer to know that it's so easy to use and to grow along with. You'll get more confident, like I said, and you'll be able to tell us tools and prompts that you have discovered on your own that have been incredibly beneficial for you.
What are some of the prompts that work that you were surprised at?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I love that brief summary. I've actually had people send me side-by-sides in comparison with competitors, and it's just night and day, really. Ours is next level, the amount of detail and the fact that it explains the relevancy of every moving part in the case just really is leaps and bounds above anything else I've seen. And so that, along with the ability to tell Transcript Genius the way you would like the information. So the table formatting or bullet points or letting it know the way that you'd like to see the information is another important play. And the fact that you can get all those resources out at the end that show the sites in chronological order. So, I mean, all of the prompts, I won't say there's one that's better than the other. It depends on what your needs are. But the beauty of it is that it's very easy to ask your questions and get what you're looking for. You're not going to have to teach it like a lot of these other AI tools that are out there. They require a lot of hand-holding to get the actual information that you want. So I think that for those of you that might be skeptical about using AI as a tool, if you give this a try, you'll be very pleasantly impressed with the user-friendly nature of it.
Awesome. Well, I'm not seeing any questions coming in. Do you want to wrap it up for us? We can take it home.
I'm happy to do that. I saw that as everyone was saying hello, there were people from all ends of the U.S. It was great. I've got some people here on the East Coast. I noticed. I hope you guys are enjoying this beautiful day like me. But just to mirror what Joe said, what you do is incredible, and it does not get enough praise. So it was really an honor to be here today, and I appreciate all of you taking your time to join us. If you have any questions about any of the information we went over, just reach out, and we will be happy to help. And I hope all of you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, everyone, for attending today. We will be following up with the deck, the recording, and along with Joe and Danielle's contact information. So again, thank you all. And until next time, appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Thank you.